And no DRA forms, you go away from here. Go away, they chase my people and did not even give them the DRA forms. Is that fair?
Uganda's political parties tend to revolve around personalities rather than ideologies. Decision-making is centralized, dissent is punished, and alternative views are rarely tolerated. This personalization has led to frequent defections, weakening party cohesion and confusing voters.
Peace on non-confrontation. Those are our core values.
Service by discipline, that we are reliable, that we are inclusive.
That they can buy the voters. But I tell you, there is a situation where God comes in.
The Electoral Commission has also faced accusations of bias toward the ruling party, raising serious concerns about the fairness of Uganda's electoral process. In such a titled playing field, party primaries risk becoming formalities rather than genuine democratic exercises.
Raising concerns about internal party processes, about elections of office bearers, about challenges.
So we ask, are political processes making or breaking Uganda's multi-party democracy? This is The Frontline. Nbs Frontline.
Yes, indeed, your Thursday night Frontline is here. My name is Simon Kagwanjala. Welcome aboard. We're talking politics as it hits up to 2026. And tonight, our focus is going to be on internal party processes. We'll be taking a deep dive into how parties are running the show. There is a semblance of parties preaching democracy and practicing something completely different. And this comes in the midst of the party primaries that, of course, have left a bitter aftertaste among quite a number of people. A lot of questions are being raised. The NRM has so far received close to 400 petitions from the parliamentary flag bearer race. What a process. It prompted the president to write 4 letters talking about the whole affair and promising to investigate and bring the culprits to book. The Forum for Democratic Change yesterday unveiled Nathan Nandala Mafabi after what they called a series of discussions and engagements that culminated into the current party president, Patrick Oboya Muriat, stepping down for Nandala Mafabi, and that automatically means Nandala will be the president come 2026. But on the other side, the spotlight now is also on the National Unity Platform as the vetting process for representatives at different layers continues. The case of the presidency was resolved during the delegates' conference that again raised eyebrows on the manner it was arranged and the outcome. Tonight we ask, are internal processes making or breaking multi-party democracy? Welcome. I want in a very special way to welcome Honorable Robert Centenary, former Member of Parliament, currently Vice Chairman Forum for Democratic Change, joining us tonight. Professor Roger Barigayomwe, a political science lecturer at Kampala International University, the frontliner and aspiring member of parliament for older persons representing Eastern Region, Honorable Ofono Opondo. And
thank you.
Council George Musisi. Yeah. Still in pencil.
That's correct.
I'm trying to be kind enough.
Yeah, but with the injection Kagwanjala has just given me before he entered here, I think Kagwa has done a blood transfusion on me.
I thought that was the secret.
So my vehicle won't stop on the way.
George Musisi, Council for the National Unity Platform, and Honorable Dr. Chris Bariomusi, the giant from the hills of Kabali. and Minister for ICT, Kanungu, the man from Kanungu. Good to have you.
Thank
you. A very good evening. I'll begin with you, Honorable Centenary. Well, there was a big headline. Nandala Mafabi is the official party flag bearer. Can you tell us how you arrived at this and what makes it such a big deal?
Well, thank you and good evening all our viewers. It was a series of processes. Definitely we had two candidates that nominated. They are all good, competent enough to carry on the mantle of presidential flag bearer. Without a doubt, if any one of them had been given to run this country, they would do it without fear or favor. So during the process of campaigning and consultations, obviously, we looked at two things. First of all, our process of electing a presidential flag bearer requires a delegates conference that is very expensive, and many of our members and supporters were worried about that expenditure.
You took a shortcut.
There was a debate that if we saved that money, it would help us to support our flag bearers, councillors, LCs, members of parliament. They want posters, they want nomination fees, they want some support to campaign out there. So instead of calling for a delegates conference, we would rather negotiate. But also we had elders interacting with each other. Wherever they went, the plea was that there should be consensus. And considering the past history of acrimonious elections, both for structures and presidential flag bearers, we did not want to go back to the same acrimony that has characterized our internal democracy. So when the elders...
Is this the new norm in FDC? Because traditionally, FDC has elected leaders, not anointed leaders.
There was no anointing. If somebody steps down, he has stepped down. You will not force him to proceed with the campaign. So there is no anointing. But FDC in our constitution, we provide for vetting, we provide for consensus building, we provide for election, which is voting. All those are part of our processes of getting a candidate. It has happened before that a presidential candidate has been given a flag without even competing for it. Dr. Besigye has done that before. So it's not a new phenomena in the FDC, and it is constitutional. The elders engaged because we had a candidate from Buteso, we had another one from Bugisu. There was an interaction, a series of them, including even religious leaders, by the way. And the last engagement was with the elders of the party from the different sub-regions. So we pleaded with our candidates to at least respect what the recommendation of the elders, which they said they adhered to. And yes, we are good to go, and we are happy that our choice of the flag bearer for the presidency is not regrettable.
Honorable Centenary, after Amuriat, the barefoot presidential candidate, performed dismally, garnering 3.26% from the presidential election, do you think Nandala Mafabi can turn around anything, especially coming from a party that's been hugely bruised?
You know, I've always told people that the person who does not expose his strength is the strongest candidate you can ever have. I have had an experience in an election where I was regarded as a weak candidate and I emerged victorious. But in an election where I posed as a strong candidate, I actually lost it because all the machinery was pointed at me, and because they knew now I was a strong one. So for me, I don't believe in making a lot of noise. I believe in doing my groundwork and surprising people. Those of you who think Nandala is a weak candidate, you're yet to get a surprise.
Dr. Barrio Musi, another contender to face off with President Museveni in the names of Nandala Mafabi. Do you imagine it's going to be a showdown? On one part you have Mugisha Muntu, Nandala Mafabi, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, Kabuleta on the other hand.
Even Katumba, boy.
Well,
and the list continues.
First of all, it's NRM that ushered in this democratic dispensation that Ugandans who feel they are eligible can offer themselves for any position from the level of the president to any other position. So they are welcome, but definitely they are no match President Yoweri Museveni. For us as NRM, we are fielding President Yoweri Museveni. And while they are welcome, I think they will perform extremely very poorly, as usual. So Honorable Nandala, yes, I congratulate him for the elevation of the presidential candidate. That is if he meets the requirements to be nominated as a candidate. But whether...
Yeah, but you're looking at Nandala, who until recently has been a power...
Where?
The power center in eastern Uganda.
Where?
In eastern Uganda.
How do you measure that the power centeredness?
Remember,
yes, he has been winning a parliamentary seat
even
like
in the 2011 election when he faced off with Babudea, with all the state machinery, and you see he's entrenched himself so much.
All of us are powers in our constituencies, but the parliamentary election and the presidential election are miles apart, because parliamentary election you are localized in your constituency, but the presidential election you are talking about from Karamoja to Chigezi, from Western Nile to Bukedi, the whole country. And
yeah, but you can look at it as the dynamite of Eastern.
You can look
region.
at it from Nandala Mafabi, a flag bearer for FDC. How strong is FDC in this country? It has been shattered by the internal contradictions that they have faced. Like in Western Uganda, where FDC had its home in the name of Kizza Besigye and so forth, is no longer there. Nobody can dare in a larger Western Uganda pick a flag on FDC, say Ankole, Chigezi, and so forth. So how will he mobilize support there? How? So it's good he gives it a try.
Is there anything that you would admire about the FDC process that culminated into the election of Nandala or the appointment of Nandala?
Well, they should have legitimized his candidature through a delegates conference so that he has that anointment by the delegates. But just to appoint you from an office room, I think that denies him legitimacy. Maybe, hopefully, they will still hold the conference to give a nod. But
Professor Roger, do we look at FDC as a yardstick for internal democracy and maybe their model? Do you see anything worth emulating by other political players?
First of all, I congratulate them over what to me I thought was a comedy, because most of us saw that Nandala was coming as a candidate. But because I think of the fear that what the public had perceived as a party which had been bought by the NRM, then they said they have to act their comedy up to the end. We knew. And indeed, if you know, we've been following the FDC contestation, you would find real debate from the beginning to the end. When, for example, Mugisha Muntu faced off Kizza Besigye. But these two knew. And remember, they were the point of accusation from the FDC which broke away, that they had taken the money. So now, to us observers, analysts, we saw as if they were playing a game which in the end would end up with Nandala Mafabi. But somehow, like Honorable Sentinel said, they had to continue their act. And remember, now even they credited the source that theirs was more about monetary value. And he said we had to save money. This money they had to save and come up with what they knew, because we followed campaigns. We didn't see any hot spot where these two were contesting. And clear, like you said, Simon, that it was known that power had become weak, especially from the result of the past election. So he was not interested in the presidency. He himself knew Nandala would come, but they wanted to put up sort of a legitimate thing, because FDC, and it rhymes with our debate, FDC was, to me, the point of success of NRM to build party democracy. But NRM, along the side, they came to kill its baby. NRM came to kill FDC through what we believe, most of us analysts, through Nandala and power. And now, like Honorable said, Baryomunsi said that now they are celebrating that FDC is not in Kigezi. Kizza Besigye was the FDC after he's being confined, which to me is unfortunate for Uganda, because if you see FDC was a party of about more than 15 years experience, because FDC built from powerful reform agenda to FDC. And after all these experiences, NRM comes to kill it. And like I've said, it's comedy. I believe Nandala will only stay maybe in Bugisu. He's strong there, but I don't see.
Why are we wishing him away too soon?
No, what
Remember, he was one of the pillars that supported the Besigye. Now you're trying to acclaim as having been a strong man.
Exactly. If Nandala had succeeded Besigye like we thought it would be, he would be a very strong man. And like I told you, NRM saw it very fast in their strategy. I think they tried to destroy them at that point, and they did not notice it. And now, one, they've killed party democracy because, for example, FDC is destroyed. PFF is also not going to come out. And now, for them, they are comfortable with contesting with NOP, which does not have that party experience.
Councillor George, for the past several years, the relationship between the National Inter-Platform and Najjana Nkumbi has been frosty. What does the arrival of Nandala Mafabi now, as the party flag bearer for the presidency, mean to you?
I don't think it means anything different. And I think at the expense of sounding like Honorable Senary's advocate, if this is advocate, there are two things. There is legality and legitimacy. The first test, did their processes satisfy their internal regulations and constitution? Yes, if that's what he's saying. Secondly, legitimacy is given by the people who are most concerned. That is the membership, especially, of FDC.
He says the elders sat.
Well, even if whether they sat or not, there are two candidates, and one of the candidates pulls out in any process. What do you say? Does their constitution say that you open up nominations? Is there anyone who's complaining that they are locked out? If you are crucifying them only at the expense of going through a process which is predictable, look at Honorable Baryomunsi's party. In terms of predictability, they have had the other day someone came for the post of chairman and Tango Doi said, no, that was resolved years ago. Then a few days later said, okay, you can come. So if you talk about predictability, I think many of the parties, even in some office bearers, you can say that in this position they are going to bring this person. I've heard of a party which says all incumbents are not going to be subjected, all incumbent MPs are not going to be subjected to a fresh contest. I've had.
When you talk predictability, is it any different from NUP?
Well,
where we knew the principle automatically.
That
slot is not challenged.
That's what I'm saying, Simon, that the essence is not about coming up with a different person. The essence is there any person who was interested in that position and was locked out. Secondly, there are some issues that are, if you look at one of the biggest democracies in the world, US, which has had a democracy for a very long time, and you look at the way they come up with their presidential contenders, you know that